Hey everyone, Mr. Mistake here. This is a guide for round 3 of the Toyota Cup taking place at Circuit de la Sarthe with the Toyota GR010 hybrid. So this is going to be a 6-lap race, grid start, so make sure you have traction control on at the start of the race. Fuel is at ×1, tire is at ×5, and the tire is actually a big issue on the racing medium tires. BOP is on, tuning disabled. There are no mandatory pit stops and no mandatory tires. And just make sure you buy the racing medium and hard tires so you can use both of them. And be aware that the 010's hybrid kicks in at around 74 miles per hour or 120 kilometers per hour. So you want to have the car straightened up before you start to fully accelerate if you're around that speed range. But anyways, you're going to brake just after turn 1 ends, braking well before the total sign on the right. Brake as much as you can for a short while, ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, being really careful with your throttle inputs because you're right around the range where the hybrid will kick in. Exit on 4th gear, have the car straightened up and then fully accelerate. Then just after you pass the final cone on the right, brake hard for a short moment, ease off of the brakes as you're turning in. You can actually exit on 5th gear for a bit more stability on the car. Just after the new sector starts or just as the blue area on the right starts, you want to use a quick burst of braking and turn in. You can take advantage of the width of the track and the curves to stay on track limits. But anyways, let's fast forward through this. Bring yourself towards the left, brake at around the 150 meter board. There's usually a photographer on the left, so if you see him, he's your braking point. Ease off of the brakes as you're turning in, exit on 4th gear, have the car straightened up and then fully accelerate. Let's fast forward through this. Stay on the right this time. You're braking before the 100 meter boards. This is just like the first Mulsanne chicane we just went through, but you need to go a little bit slower as this chicane is a little sharper. Exit on 4th gear, have the car straightened up, avoid the curb on the left, and smoothly exit the chicane. Now you're going really fast, so you actually want to brake earlier than what you think. You're braking just after the curb on the right starts, so full braking power, and you want to turn in. You can actually exit on 2nd gear for a bit more power, 3rd gear for a bit more stability, but be aware that you won't be getting all the power. When the curb on the right is about to start, that's when you want to start to ease on the brakes, eventually making your way to 100% braking power. Exit this turn on 4th gear for a bit more stability, and then brake just after the wall on the right ends, or where the first sign is. Full braking power. And you can exit this turn on 2nd gear for a bit more power, 3rd gear for a bit more stability, but less power. Fast forwarding through this one more time, look for this Goodyear sign on the left, or the green area on the left. You want to brake just as you're about to pass them. 50% braking power, you're trying to maintain as much momentum as possible, doing a little bit of braking and throttle control as you go through the Porsche curves. Just try to be really careful, trying to maintain as much momentum as possible while trying to stay on track limits. Finally, bring yourself towards the right side of the track before the curb on the right starts or ahead of you starts. That's when you want to start to slow down. You need to do a lot of braking and throttle control. You want to slow down quite a bit for the final 4 chicane, as this is where you need to set yourself up to exit on 4th gear, have the car straightened up, and then fully accelerate as the hybrid kicks in. But that is all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and take a look at the strategies. Alright, so we are doing 6 laps at Circuit de la Sarthe with the Toyota GR010. This is a grid start, so make sure you have traction control at 1 for the start of the race, and shortly after it starts, or after you navigate through the down-up chicane, you can then bring the traction control back down to 0 or whatever value you normally have it set to. And because we have a chicane right in front of us, or we just passed it, expect a lot of chaos as everyone bunches up into that chicane. In terms of strategy, it's pretty straightforward. Either do the zero stop on the racing medium tires or the zero stop on the racing hard tires. Don't even bother pitting because you lose way too much time. What I will say is do the qualifying on the racing medium tires, do the race on the racing hard tires, because as you can see on the bottom left hand corner of the screen, the tire wear is horrendous on the racing medium tires, as I'm almost spinning out right there. The GR010's hybrid system pretty much destroys your tires, so laps 2 or the first 2 laps you're going to be fine. The last 4 laps, good luck, because that's where the tire wear starts to kick in. You have to navigate slower through these high-speed corners to try to stay on track, which means you're going to lose a lot of time. And then whenever the hybrid system wants to kick in on the lower speed corners, you have to be really careful, otherwise you will spin out. So the zero stop on the racing medium tires is extremely risky, to the point where it's not really worth it because you lose way too much time as the tires wear out. At the end of this race, the zero stop on the racing medium tires, I'm going to end up getting a total time of 20 minutes and 37 seconds. And once again, don't even bother pitting because you lose around 40 seconds, which is just way too much. Now let's take a look at the zero stop on the racing hard tires. This one is, well, pretty straightforward. The tire wear on the racing hard tires is not going to be an issue at all, so you can just focus on trying to drive and trying to see where the heck you're going, because the race quickly progresses into nighttime, which makes it really hard to see where you're going. And I say that because I made a mistake in this testing session where I turned in a little too much and ended up spitting myself out, which cost me around 12 seconds. So tire wear, not an issue at all. Getting kind of consistent lap time, so things are going pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to end the race, except I'm having a hard time seeing where I'm going. I'm going to touch the grass just a little bit too much and I'm going to end up spinning out. So that little mistake right there ended up costing me 12 seconds. Oh, and I spun myself out again because I had the return car to track thing on for some reason. But anyways, yeah, you want to be really careful once the in-game day turns into night, because it becomes a lot more difficult to see where you're going, and any mistake like that can and probably will happen to at least one person in your race, and it's going to be an expensive mistake. But without the 12-second mistake, this run should have been a 20 minutes and 29-second run, so much faster than the zero stop on the racing medium tires. So as I mentioned earlier, do the qualifying on the racing medium tires, do the race on the racing hard tires. Now, some people may not be familiar with this track, and I don't blame them. This is a pretty long and difficult track. If you want a little help, especially when the game turns into night, what you want to do is head on over to settings, which I'll do in any moment now. First, you need to load up the time trial session, by the way. There we go. Come on. Go ahead and go on over to assist settings. And what you want to do is go to driving line assistance. You can turn on driving markers, driving line, whatever you need, so you can spot your turn-in points. You can even put the braking area and braking indicator on, so you can spot when to brake, when to turn in, and all that good stuff. Because when the game turns into night, it gets a lot more difficult to spot your turn-in points and all those things. You can even turn up the temporary exposure settings to 3.0 or move the image settings over to 3.0 in case you want to try to see things a little bit better, especially when it turns into nighttime. But I think those are a bit more drastic measures. I don't know if you'd want to do that, but if you want to give it a try, feel free to do so. And yeah, I just want to point those things out. And here's a quick example of the corner indicators in use. So that was the only assist I turned on at that point. So those little pins, those are your corner indicators, so it'll let me know where the apexes are or where to turn in and all that good stuff. I still need to look for my braking points though. And yeah, this is in the time trial session, so you can see how dark it gets really fast. Halfway into lap 4, the track or the in-game day is so dark that it's really difficult to see where you're going. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and go now. So once again, qualify on the medium tires, do the race on the hard tires, turn on any assist if it means that you'll be able to see where the heck to brake and turn in better, so you don't end up veering off the track. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So thank you guys for the support. Thank you to Playseat for supporting the channel as well. This is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.